Now that you've purchased your Delta Kit's windshield repair system, let's take you step by step through the process of windshield repair. Now, because it's so simple, you may already have a general working knowledge and are already using your Delta Kit system today. We still recommend watching this video to help you answer any remaining questions, refine your present skills, and maybe show you a few new techniques to work with. But before we begin the actual repair process, we need to talk about the necessary safety precautions to protect you and your customer. Resin contains chemicals that allow it to etch the glass in order to create a stronger bond. Always wear nitrile gloves or an approved skin protectant in addition to protective eyewear. Store resin bottles upright in their original containers and return them to the toolbox when not in use. Do not allow resin to come in contact with any surface other than glass. If resin is accidentally spilled, wipe it up immediately with a cloth dampened with water or denatured alcohol before it has a chance to dry, and dispose of the cloth. The first thing you need to do is inspect and determine the extent of damage. You should not attempt a windshield repair on any damage that cannot be improved by at least 80%. You should not attempt a windshield repair if the structural integrity of the windshield cannot be restored. In time, you will be able to qualify a break with a quick glance, but for now, we will give you some basic guidelines to go by. Damage should not exceed 2 inches in diameter. If glass is delaminated, it should not be repaired. Although cracks of any size and damage in the driver's direct line of vision can often be legally repaired, many insurance companies discourage repair in the acute area of the windshield. This area is 8.5 inches high by 11 inches wide, directly in front of the driver, and beginning just above the steering wheel. Please use discretion in this area. Repairs to the inside of the windshield should be avoided unless the windshield is removed. Remember, the quality of your repair is your virtual business card. Do not attempt a repair unless you are reasonably sure you can do a good job. Customers will tell others if you do a good repair, but they will tell even more if you do a poor job. The ideal temperature for windshield repair is between 70 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Although perfectly acceptable repairs may be done outside that temperature range, it is preferable to warm or cool the glass to get as close to that range as possible. Please refer to the troubleshooting section at the end of this video for more detailed information. Always cover painted surfaces around the work area to protect the paint from scratches and contact with resin. Remove any loose glass particles from the center of the brake with a scribe or probe. Be careful not to scratch the surrounding glass. Using a mirror will aid in monitoring the progress of a windshield repair. Lightly moisten the suction cup on the inspection mirror and attach to the inside of the glass, directly behind the damaged area. The bridge assembly is the holding device for the injector that attaches to the windshield. Be sure that the leveling screws and injector body are screwed back as far as possible and that the retaining nut for the suction is tight. Position the bridge so that the injector body is directly over the center of the brake. You can look down the barrel of the injector to align it perfectly with the brake. Pump the suction cup until the red indicator can no longer be seen and the bridge is securely attached. Loosen the center knob and adjust the base if necessary. Turn the injector body clockwise until the inseal makes contact with the glass. Then turn it one more complete rotation. Do not over-tighten. Adjust the leveling screws by turning them clockwise until the 3 points of the bridge base are an equal distance from the glass. Again, do not over-tighten. At this point, the seal should be seated firmly against the glass. On extreme curves, it may be necessary to raise or lower the injector body in order to get a good seal. It will also be necessary to readjust the leveling screws accordingly. Watch the brake carefully while performing this procedure, particularly if cracks are present. If new cracks appear or movement is seen within the brake, reduce pressure by loosening the suction cup knob immediately and proceed with caution. Place a few drops of thin Magna Bond or Premium Bond resin in the injector body. Use an eyedropper or small syringe if necessary to ensure the resin gets down into the end seal. The amount of resin used will vary depending on the angle of the glass, but 7 drops should be enough for even the largest repairs. Replace the cap on the resin bottle and store properly before proceeding. Lock the easy plunger in the upright position by pulling up on the top knob and turning clockwise 1/4 turn. Screw the easy plunger into the injector body until it stops. Hold the injector body with one hand while pulling up and turning clockwise on the top knob of the easy plunger with the other hand. By turning the easy plunger 1/4 turn, the slots will be aligned, allowing it to be lowered into the end seal. Do this slowly and do not allow it to snap down. As soon as the easy plunger makes contact with the seal, the pressure cycle is initiated and the resin will begin to flow into the brake. The easy plunger is designed to increase pressure automatically without further user input. However, this process takes approximately 15 minutes, so you may want to add additional pressure by pushing down on the top knob with your thumb. Do this slowly to avoid excess pressure and watch the brake carefully. If the cracks start to spread, pull up on the top knob immediately to reduce pressure. Under normal circumstances, the plunger will slide into the seal 1/8 inch to 3/16 of an inch. Under no circumstances should you push the plunger all the way down, as damage to the seal or the glass may occur. Leave the easy plunger in the pressure cycle for 5 minutes. To initiate the vacuum cycle, hold the injector body with one hand while lifting up slowly on the easy plunger top knob and turning clockwise with the other hand to lock it in the up position. As the plunger is pulled up through the seal, it creates a strong vacuum to evacuate air trapped within the brake. As it clears the top of the seal, the air is evacuated through the body of the injector. Leave the easy plunger in the vacuum cycle for 30 seconds or until you can no longer see the air bubbles rising. Repeat the pressure and vacuum cycles until all the trapped air is removed from the brake. Depending on the brake, it will usually take between 2 and 4 complete cycles to remove all trapped air. After the second pressure and vacuum cycles, if the resin has reached the edges of the brake and the ends of the cracks, you may reduce the pressure cycle time to approximately 1 to 2 minutes. Heat may also be used during the repair process to speed up repair time. Please refer to the troubleshooting section at the end of this video for more detailed information on using heat. When all air has been removed and you're satisfied with the repair, loosen the suction cup knob and swivel the bridge off the repair. This is preferable to removing the bridge assembly in case you find that there is still an air bubble under the injector seal that could not be seen while the bridge was in place. Inspect the repair and remove the bridge assembly if there is no air remaining in the brake. Tear off a piece of curing tape or use a curing tab large enough to cover the entire repair. Place the lower edge of the curing tape below the center of the brake with the top edge folded back. This will create a dam for your pit resin. Place 1 drop of pit resin directly on the center of the brake and allow the curing tape to fold over the top of it. You should now have a slight hump over the center of the repair. Do not flatten the resin. Moisten the suction cups on the UV curing light and attach it to the windshield directly over the curing tape. Be sure to push down firmly so the suction cups will not release prematurely. The pit resin on the surface will cure within 1 to 3 minutes, depending on the style of light used. However, the resin on the inside of the glass takes slightly longer, so a full 5 minutes of cure time is recommended. After the resin is cured, remove the light, then peel off the curing tape and discard. Remove the excess resin by holding a sharp razor blade at a 90-degree angle to the glass and scraping back and forth across the surface of the resin until completely smooth. If it is not completely smooth, reapply resin and repeat the curing process until satisfied. Place 1 drop of pit polish on the center of the repair and polish with a clean paper towel for 30 seconds. The result should be a professionally repaired windshield that looks at least 80% better and is restored to the strength of the glass around it. You should be proud of your work and confident that it will hold for the life of the vehicle. Clean the injector by separating the two parts and blowing them out with compressed air, or by rinsing in denatured alcohol. Failure to store parts separately will void the warranty. Denatured alcohol may also be used to clean uncured resin from the bridge assembly, UV lamp, drill, etc. We have just showed you the basic procedure for repairing most bullseyes, combination brakes, and star brakes. See the troubleshooting section at the end of this video for variations or problems that you may encounter. Star and combination brakes are repaired with the same basic procedure, but often require slightly more time for the resin to fill the tight cracks. Occasionally, it's necessary to flex the glass from the outside with a probe or from the inside with your thumb or a crack expander. There are many types of glass drilling burrs. Each has its benefits and drawbacks, so which one you use becomes a matter of personal preference. As a general rule, if there is glass missing from the surface, it's not necessary to drill at all. When to drill is a widely disputed question, and again becomes a matter of preference in many instances. However, there are times when you must drill. These times are when you cannot get resin to flow into the damaged area, and when drilling cracks over 1 inch long. Remember, always rotate the drill in a circular motion while drilling. This procedure will eliminate bit breakage and drill the hole in such a way that air bubbles will be much easier to remove from the drill hole. Drilling often relieves pressure and creates a larger opening to inject the resin. The downside is that the drill hole will always be more visible. Cracks of any length may be repaired with your Delta Kit's windshield repair system. However, it may not always be in your best interest to do so. First of all, many insurance companies will not pay for cracks over a specified length, often 6 inches. Second, a long crack will always be visible from certain angles and tends to be more distracting to the driver than other types of repairs. Third, because of the stress factor, there is less tolerance for error. If you have trapped air or do not get the resin to the very end of the crack, it may not achieve the strength of the glass around it. The success rate for a completed rock chip repair or short crack under 6 inches is over 99%. However, the success rate for a long crack repair is significantly less, depending on the length, age, and other variables. We're confident that your Delta Kit's windshield repair system will allow you to repair cracks at least as well as any other system on the market, so the choice is yours. In any case, we suggest that you do several practice cracks before attempting to repair a customer's vehicle. Here are the steps to fixing long cracks. Clean the entire length of the crack so dirt will not be sucked into the crack during the repair. Use a soft dry cloth or lint-free paper towel to assure no moisture enters the crack. Locate the end of the crack and carefully mark it with a carbide scribe. Use a bright light and look at the crack from several different angles to be sure you've found the end. A crack expander may also be used on the inside of the glass to open the crack and help you locate the end, but care must be taken so the crack will not run out. Drill a hole 1/32 of an inch past the end of the crack. The crack will usually jump to the hole and it will be properly terminated. As an option, you may drill halfway through the first layer of glass and then use a long pointed scribe or probe to create a small bullseye by placing the point of the scribe in the hole and tapping the other end lightly with a suction cup removal stick. When filled, the bullseye creates a little pocket of resin to help keep the crack from running. If the source of the crack is accessible, set up the bridge assembly and proceed just as you would with a simple bullseye repair. As the resin is injected into the brake, the crack will usually fill to a length of 1 to 1.5 inches. When it appears that the filling process has stopped, usually about 5 minutes, place a drop of resin about 1/16 of an inch behind the farthest point the resin has reached. The pressure created from the injector will continue to push the resin out into the crack another 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. Repeat this process each time the resin stops flowing until it reaches and fills the drill hole. This procedure effectively pushes the air to the end of the crack and out the drill hole. Do not place the resin over the entire length of the crack all at one time. This will result in air pockets that can be very difficult to remove. Covering the crack with curing tape as it fills will help keep air out of the crack until it's ready to be cured. Place a drop of pit resin on the drill hole and cover with curing tape as described earlier in this video. If an air bubble is present in the drill hole, it may be necessary to use a straight pin or needle to work the bubble out of the hole. Remove the bridge assembly from the other end and add pit resin and curing tape as described earlier in this video. When the crack is filled satisfactorily, pit resin has been applied to both ends and curing tape has been applied to the entire length of the crack, attach the UV light and cure for a minimum of 5 minutes. It may be necessary to move the light several times, depending on the length of the crack. It is very important to cure the crack very well, so take your time. Remove the curing tape and scrape down the ends, as with a simple rock chip. Scrape the crack itself with the razor blade at a 45-degree angle, going in the same direction as the crack. Cracks take a bit more practice than simple rock chip repairs. Pressure may be applied from inside the vehicle to open up the crack and allow the resin to flow in easier. One or more crack expanders may also be used for this purpose. A crack expander is a simple device that attaches to the inside of the windshield, spans the crack, and allows you to adjust and maintain the amount of pressure being applied to the crack. Applying heat to the length of the crack from the inside of the glass may help the resin flow easier. However, heat can cause the glass to expand, which may temporarily close the crack and push out the resin. When the crack cools, it may open again, and you'll have defeated your purpose. But if you use heat on a crack, use it sparingly and allow it to cool before curing. When I finish a repair, it looks great, but later it seems to reappear. There are 2 common causes for this problem. One is overheating. When the glass is warmed past the ideal temperature of 80 to 90 degrees, it expands, pushing the resin out of the crack. It looks repaired, but in fact has no resin in the cracks, thus no bonding strength. When the glass is cooled, it contracts and the cracks reappear. The second most common reason for this problem is putting too much pressure on the windshield when affixing the bridge. If the injector is over-tightened, the glass will flex in, and the cracks will close just as when overheated. To eliminate this problem, once the injector seal has made contact with the glass, rotate the injector 1 more complete turn and no more. Then make your final leveling adjustments with the rear adjusting screws. Why do my repairs sometimes get a flower-shaped, watery look to them? Excessive heat or pressure may cause the glass to separate from the laminate, allowing the resin to flow out past the border of the original damaged area. This problem is most common in very hot climates and in brakes such as bullseyes and large combination brakes, but may also occur at the end of a crack. Sometimes called the daisy effect, it is not a structural problem, but can be visually unappealing. In the summertime, when shade is not available, try cooling the glass with a Delta Kit sunscreen for a few minutes before repair and using less pressure. Also, if the air temperature is above 80 degrees Fahrenheit, it's not usually necessary to heat the glass. Why won't resin cure? There are many possibilities to consider, but the most common will surprise you. Many types of cellophane, such as sandwich wrap, actually block ultraviolet light. Be sure to use Delta Kit's brand curing tape, tabs, or strips for best results. If you are using a battery-operated light to cure the resin, be sure the batteries are fresh. If the batteries are fresh, try a new bulb. If these solutions fail to remedy the problem, try curing the resin in direct sunlight. Contaminated resin is the least likely of all curing problems, but it has been known to happen. Never return used resin to the resin bottle, as it can contain a variety of contaminants from the glass surface. Why is the resin taking so long to cure? Always use premium pit resin prior to curing the repair. Failure to use premium pit resin can result in longer curing times, and it may be necessary to use several applications of thin resin to achieve the same results. Some UV lights cure faster than others. As a general rule, 120 or 240 volt lights cure fastest, followed by 12 volt lights, with battery-operated lights bringing up the rear. Generally speaking, the bigger the battery size, the faster it will cure. Customers often prefer battery-operated lights due to the versatility and low cost, and are willing to make a slight sacrifice in performance for the convenience. Why does the pit resin come off the windshield when I pull off the curing film? Usually, this problem is the result of a prior application of wax, Rain-X, or similar glass treatment. Use premium pit polish, pumice, cerium oxide, or Easy Clean to remove the treatment prior to repairing. Cheap brands of pit resin have also been known to have this problem, even when glass treatments are not present. Always use high-quality Delta Kits resin products. Why can I still feel the pit after I finished repairing the brake? Either no pit resin was used, or you forgot to leave a hump under the curing film. Many repair technicians push down on the curing film to flatten it out before curing. By allowing the film to lay gently over the pit resin, it will leave a hump that, once cured, is easily scraped flush with the glass. When repairing cracks, why do I get air bubbles where I have already filled the crack with resin? Techniques such as sliding a bridge, using an injector at each end, or using a crack spreader will often create air bubbles. It's best to avoid using excess pressure whenever possible. If you simply run resin along the crack, it will seep in at different places depending on the width of the crack. Always fill the crack from the impact point until it will travel no farther into the crack. Then add a drop at a time to the surface of the crack, about 1/16 of an inch behind where it stopped flowing. Each drop of resin should flow another 1/4 to 1/2 inch into the crack. Repeat until the crack is full. How do I get air bubbles out of a drill hole? When you are finished filling the brake, put a drop of pit resin on the hole and put your curing film partially over it. While holding the film back, use a straight pen to work the bubble to the top of the resin. When you lay the remainder of the film over the hole, the bubble will be pushed out to the edge of the film. How can I keep the resin from curing prematurely when doing repairs in sunlight? Use a Delta Kits UV sun shield to cover the bridge assembly and work area until the repair is ready to be cured. How can I get my carbide burrs to last longer? To extend the life and increase the cutting action, use a butane lighter to burn off any residue that remains on the burr after each repair. This alone will double the number of holes you can expect from the average burr. Using too much pressure or a speed over 10,000 RPM can cause excess heat that will dull a burr prematurely. And although some burr distributors recommend using resin as a coolant, we've found that it can actually slow the process and has not proven to extend the life of the burr. Should I warm up the glass prior to or during the repair? It is preferable to start with a warm windshield to ensure that moisture does not develop as a result of condensation in the brake. However, if the windshield is preheated, the resin should also be approximately the same temperature. Hot resin on cold glass or cold resin on hot glass can lead to cracking. Warming should always be done slowly and in an area several inches larger than the brake itself. The colder the weather, the more important this becomes. What is the best way to warm up the glass? Several methods can be used, including cigarette lighter, the vehicle's defroster, hair dryer, heat lamp, heat gun, and moisture evaporator. All these methods work, so it's just a matter of choice. However, in very cold conditions, running the vehicle's defroster or using a heat lamp have the advantage of being somewhat more consistent. Will warming the glass speed up the repair? Yes. Warming the glass will often speed up the repair by thinning the resin and allowing it to flow into the cracks quicker. Be sure not to overheat the glass, as this can cause problems discussed earlier in this video. If the glass is too hot to hold your finger on, it must be given time to cool before removing the bridge assembly and finishing the repair. What is the best way to remove moisture from a brake? The Delta Kit's moisture evaporator will remove all traces of moisture from most repairs in only 20 seconds. Other heating or vacuum methods can take an hour or more. Using chemicals can leave a residue that is not compatible with windshield repair resins and does not get all the moisture out. Vacuum or suction devices have not proven to be as effective. Can I use thumb pressure on the glass from inside the vehicle to open up a crack? Yes, but you cannot usually flex the glass from the inside and work on the outside at the same time, so a crack expander may be more effective. Too much flexing will cause the resin to pull in air, so it is best not to flex at all unless absolutely necessary. The crack expander may also be used to open stubborn star brakes. Can I use other brands of resin with my Delta Kit's windshield repair system? You do so at your own risk. Delta Kit's injectors are made of stainless steel and are very resistant to most windshield repair resin products. However, because we do not know what chemicals may be in a competitor's product, we cannot guarantee that it will not have an adverse effect on the injector. Use of resin products other than those sold by Delta Kit's will void the warranty. Do I need a special adapter to do repairs on vertical glass, such as those found on buses or trucks? No, however, it may be necessary to adjust the rear adjusting screws on the bridge assembly to tilt the injector slightly upward in order to get the resin to stay in the seal. It is also recommended that you use a syringe or dropper to place the resin into the injector to ensure that the resin reaches the seal. Vertical repairs may take slightly longer and require a bit more resin, so you may want to adjust your fee accordingly. What if there is a piece of glass missing from the center of the brake that is larger than the injector seal? Simply fill the void with pit resin and lay a section of curing tape across the resin and cure for 5 minutes. Scrape the resin with a razor blade until flat, then drill a hole through the cured resin and glass down into the laminate. At this point, you can proceed with the repair just as you would any other. Why do drill bits sometimes break just as they penetrate the first layer of glass? When drilling, you should always rotate your drill in a circular motion. This not only helps reduce bit breakage, but will also shape the hole in such a way that air bubbles are easier to remove. Another solution is to drill halfway through the outer layer of glass, then insert a thin probe into the brake and tap lightly with a suction cup removal tool. A very small bullseye will be created at the bottom of the drill hole and will not damage the laminate. This procedure is also very effective for stopping long cracks. What is the best way to clean the injector? Use an air compressor or a can of compressed air to blow excess resin from the inside of the injector body and the outside threads of the injector plunger. If you do not have access to compressed air, simply wipe off the individual pieces of the injector and store them in their respective locations inside your Delta Kit's toolbox. Do not leave the two pieces of the injector screwed together during storage. Denatured alcohol can be used for cleaning if you prefer. However, it is not necessary if you clean your equipment after each repair. Denatured alcohol may also be used to clean the bridge base, lamp, and drill. We hope this video has given you a more thorough understanding of the windshield repair process. Please review it several times and practice these techniques until they become second nature to you. Now, if you have any unanswered questions or come up with an idea you'd like to share, please give us a call. Again, we'd like to thank you